This morning is the beginning of day 2 of the nuclear industry's winter meeting here in Washington. And despite the Obama administration's push for a carbon cap and for low-emission electricity sources, the legislative discussions on Capitol Hill right now, nuclear advocates say that so far the White House support for their industry is little more than lip service. Clean Skies' Dee Bombani went to yesterday's kickoff to the nuclear meetings. And Dee, let's be clear, this winter meeting is drawing some very big names to Washington.
It is, Tyler. Engineers, policymakers, and administration heavy hitters, they're all coming together this week for the American Nuclear Society's winter meeting and expo to talk about where the nuclear industry is and where it's going.
They talked about nuclear safety, granular details of modeling and simulation. They showed off their newest technologies, but the underlying message from the American Nuclear Society's winter meeting was the Obama administration needs to do more for nuclear energy.
Well, personally, I get mixed signals because Dr. Chu, often the Secretary of Energy, he often talks about nuclear as part of the solution. But that's about the extent of his statement on that, because I still don't perceive that the Obama administration in general is what I would call pro-nuclear. They are right to emphasize that renewables need to be looked at. They are right to emphasize that clean coal needs to be looked at, because I think all of these are part of the solution. Not one of these technologies is going to solve everything. But I don't think that the nuclear is getting the due it deserves for the big role that it can play. And the industry can have a renaissance despite what people think in terms of the capabilities that we currently have and our expansion that's needed.
Participants who talked to Clean Skies News say the administration has not been clear about the kind of attention it plans to give to the growth of the nuclear industry. It simply says nuclear energy is 20% of the national energy mix and should continue to be part of the larger mix. DOE does not make clear what percentage nuclear should comprise. It does not even call nuclear energy a clean energy source, as the industry believes it is. The Energy Department's Assistant Secretary for Nuclear Energy, Warren Pete Miller, told Clean Skies the administration is supportive of nuclear. He said nuclear energy must be a part of the solutions to the climate change problem. There's no silver bullet, but it should be part of the clean energy portfolio. Some conference attendees say that kind of rhetoric is not enough. They say the administration's actions speak volumes about its lack of support. When Energy Secretary Steven Chu took the helm, he said he would appoint a blue ribbon panel of nuclear experts to go back to the drawing board and find a way to dispose of the country's nuclear waste. He said Yucca Mountain was not an option. That panel has not yet been named, and DOE has been unwilling to say whether the panel has even been started. Now the administration says it will cut off funding to continue the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's licensing of Yucca Mountain, which concerns NRC Commissioner and former Chairman Dale Klein.
In 2010, what we really wanted was about $99 million. The president's request was $56, and then what was finally allocated was $29. So what that will mean is we will not be able to finish the review of the application in a timeline that Congress had originally required us to do.
The project has been mired in lawsuits and staunchly opposed by Nevada politicians, including Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Klein says the NRC has not had a chance to make a safety determination. The idea was for DOE to defend, before the NRC, the Yucca Mountain licensing application filed in June 2008. Now, NRC may not have a chance to review the application.
Our job at the NRC is to review the application to find out, is it safe in the application, and we have not made that determination. That's what our science-based approach was going to look at.
Nuclear waste is now stored on site at the country's 104 reactors. Until now, DOE has only said Yucca Mountain is not an option for this administration. DOE has not officially pulled the license application from the NRC altogether. The nuclear industry says the administration's support is key. Without it, thousands of jobs could be lost, and the $8 billion already poured into the Yucca Mountain project could give new meaning to the term waste. Several analysts say the nuclear industry is hamstrung by politics, the White House, and by lack of capital. Dan Yerman says the fact that DOE has not yet issued a single loan guarantee for a nuclear plant shows its lack of support for nuclear energy.
The Obama administration was elected in part by the Green Wing from the Democratic Party, and the battle over loan guarantees is very much a battle over capital. The wind and solar people are very concerned that if large amounts of Wall Street capital starts flowing towards nuclear power plants, which are admittedly very expensive, that there won't be any left over for them. And so they feel that it's a zero-sum relationship in terms of getting money from Wall Street. If you can lock up the loan guarantees, then money won't flow from Wall Street to nuclear power plants. And since the wind and solar guys are getting loan guarantees, it will flow to them. This is basically zero-sum business that's going on here, and it's not just politics.
While the industry says it may not be in the perfect political environment, it will continue to strategize to find a way to grow.
Now, the meetings will continue through the week. One thing to note is that the new administration asked for 37% less in its fiscal 2010 budget for nuclear projects than the Bush administration had asked for in its fiscal 2009 request. Tyler.
All right, thank you, Dee. Those meetings continue with day 2 later this morning.